Welcome back, guys. So in today's tutorial, I'll be learning how to make this basket effect on our dress or on our skirt. So this is basically the style inspiration, and then now we'll get right to how to make this. So I have my pattern paper folded. Sorry, the pattern paper is kind of squeezed. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and draft my skirt pattern first. So like I said, I'm going to be drafting my skirt pattern. So I'll place my tape rule. This is going to have an half length or a top. So I'm going to be starting all measurement from the waist. So I placed my tape on 16, which is the waist. Then from 16, I counted 9 inches downward, which will serve as my hip line. So after that, I'll just go ahead and measure the length of this. So I measure directly to where I want the basket to end. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. Now after I'm done with this, I'll just go ahead and mark those lines again on that part so that I can go ahead and connect the straight line to it. Then I'll mark the length as well on the hem. Sorry you could not see the length, but the length actually depends on how long you want it. So now I'm going to be using my ruler now to connect this together. So the first part, this part will serve as my hip line, while the beginning of the paper will serve as the waistline. Like I said, my waist is on 16 and the hip is on 23 or 24. So you can go ahead and locate yours on your client's body. So guys, having done this, we're going to go ahead to draft out our skirt pattern now. So I'm going to be placing my tape rule as well now. I'm going to be taking my waist measurement on that part. So go ahead and place your tape rule like this. Put in your waist measurement. So I'll be working with the pencil because I ran out of the marker. Then I'm going to be adding my allowance. So I'm going to be adding 2-inch allowance. I always like to work with 2-inch allowance if I'm going to be using a lining piece. So I'm going to be adding allowance there. Then on the hip as well, I will take my hip measurement. Go ahead and divide your hip measurement by 4. So I'm going to be marking that, and then I'll add extra 2-inch allowance as well. Now once I'm done with this, I'll just go ahead and take whatever I have on that hip line plus allowance. I'm going to subtract about 2 inches from that. I'm going to measure it on the length of the skirt. So go ahead and do the same thing for yours. So whatever I have there, I'll go ahead and just subtract about 2 inches from it and then mark it on the hem, which is going to be on the length of the skirt. So guys, once you're done with that, now we're going to be connecting all of this together. So we're going to be connecting from the waist to the hip, and then from the hip down to the hem. So I'm going to be using this curvy part like this to connect my hip. So once I'm done connecting this, I'll just go ahead and connect this now straight down to the hem like this. Now once you are done connecting this, make sure you eradicate all sharp edges. This is just basically drafting your normal skirt pattern. So if you're familiar with this already, we can just go ahead and go through this process. Then now we'll go right to the weaving aspect. So we keep connecting like that. Now that I'm done with that, I'll just go ahead and use my scissors to trim out where you can see me pointing to. So sorry it's not that visible, it's because I'm working with a pencil. Now I'll take my scissors and start cutting. Remember that there's going to be a dart on the waist of the skirt. So my allowance has been included on the 2 inches I added. Now again, I'll go ahead and confirm what I'm going to be using as my length. So this is where my basket effect is going to be starting from. So my client actually wanted the skirt to be longer, then the basket effect should just be a bit visible. So this is where my basket effect is going to be starting from the knee, about 37 inches. So from that 37 inches, the actual full length of the gown or of the skirt is from the shoulder to the length is actually 50 inches. So this is where I found my 50 inches. So I'll just cut. As you can see, I already ruled out where the basket effect is going to start as well. So go ahead and measure that on your client's body, because at the end of the day, your client may want the basket effect longer or fuller. So this actually depends on what your client wants. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out like this. So guys, this is what it looks like after I'm done cutting. Now I'm going to be separating the basket part from the skirt length now. So I have measurement from my waist to the knee, and then this is going to be the basket part of this. So guys, having done this, now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be folding this part into two like this. So this is where the the basket effect is going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and label this part, the up and then the down, so that I don't make any mistake while turning this. So this is actually now how I'm going to be spacing out the basket effect. So here I'm going to be using 2 inches interval. So I'll just go ahead and mark 2 inch here, 2 inch randomly from this part. So I'm going to keep marking this. Go ahead and keep replicating this 2 inches on both sides, on all sides like this. So I'm marking it horizontally. I'll also go ahead and mark that 2 inch vertically. So keep marking them out like this, 2 inches. So I'm just going to be leaving out that part like that, since it's not up to 2 inches. I have about 2.5 inch on that part. Now that I'm done with that, I'll use my ruler now to connect it. So make sure to measure that 2 inch on the upper part and on the lower part, so that you can have a straight line. Drawing a straight line is actually not going to be easy, except you go ahead and mark it on the upper and the lower part. So once I'm done with that, I will just use my ruler to connect this together like this. So I'll keep connecting it together like this. So keep replacing it like this, keep replicating it. So guys, once I'm done with that, now I'm going to be working with the other 2 inches like this way. So from this part, so I'll go ahead and mark my 2 inch. So keep marking your 2 inch. So this actually depends on how wide you want your boxes to be. Or if you want it to be tiny, you can use 1.5 inch or 1 inch. But for mine, I wanted it to be a bit wide, just a bit. So I'm using 2 inch interval from each of these. So now I'm going to replace that same measurement on that part again, 2 inches. If you have a longer ruler, you can go ahead and work with that. It will actually make the work easier. So I'll keep marking that like this. So guys, once I'm done with that, now still go ahead and measure it. Like I said, we need a perfect straight line, so I'll still go ahead and mark that. So I'm just using the 2, 4, 6 and the 8. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure it. Now I'll connect this like this together. So keep connecting like this. So I'll keep connecting all of it together to have a straight line. So I have my vertical lines connected with 2 inches, and I have the horizontal lines connected with 2 inches as well. So just go ahead and keep going this process. Once you are done making the lines, this line is going to serve as a guideline for you to make those tiny boxes you are going to achieve, or the basket effect. So just keep on rolling like this. So it is actually going to take a bit of time, but it's just a process, so just keep working on it. So this is what the front is going to be looking like. So I have 2 inches horizontally and 2 inches vertically. So this is the fabric I'm going to be working with. I went ahead to cut about 2 inches of this fabric. So I'm going to just show us how to fold this. So I actually have a lot of this fabric already cut out. So you will need a lot of this. So go ahead and measure the strap and the length you are going to be working with. So this is 2 inches. Now I'm going to be folding it. Then I'll take them to my sewing machine to sew. So I'm going to be folding it like I'm folding a bias. So this is actually how I'm going to be folding it. This is for the shorter part. Now fold it over like this, the 2 edges inside like this. then I'll just go ahead and fold it over each other so that the cut end will be inside. So this is all I'm going to be folding it. Sorry that part went out of view a bit, so I'll just go ahead and stitch down that part. So I have all ends in like this, so just repeat the same process for all the fabrics I went ahead to cut out. So now I'm going to be placing this now on my pattern paper. So these are all the strands I went ahead to make. So you want to make sure you have sewn this neatly because it's going to be very visible. Now I'm going to be showing us how to place this. So I'm going to get the shorter one. I'm going to be placing it on the where I have the shorter lines, and then I'm placing the longer ones horizontally as well. So I'll just place this like this. So this is actually where the work is. You need to make sure that you are placing neatly, and then you need to make sure that you are careful with the pattern paper so that it doesn't tear out. So this is how I'm going to be placing the longer stripes. So I'm going to place this like this. So you can go ahead and use the pin to hold this down, or you just repeat the process one after the other so that you can have it. But the lines you already drew will serve as a guideline for you to work with effectively. So just go ahead and place all of those stripes you have already gone ahead to cut. And I will keep placing like this, keep arranging it. So this is what I'm going to keep doing. I'll keep placing it like this. I'll place it on all the lines I have made like that. So once I'm done placing it, I'll just go ahead and take it to my sewing machine and stitch. Remember that I'm placing it above the first line I have. So this is how the other one is going to be standing. I'm going to be placing it like this. Once I'm done with the other one, I'm going to be placing this like this, straight down like this. So now I'll take this to my sewing machine. So don't forget we're going to need a lining piece for our skirt part. So I already notch out my dart line for that. I use 4 inches plus the zipper allowance for the back, that will be 6 inches. So and then I already cut out my lining pieces as well. So now once we are done with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut another one which will serve as the back. Remember that the skirt is going to have a back piece. So this is what I went ahead to do. I just joined what I have for the front. I went ahead to measure it for the back as well. So the only difference here is that there is no zipper allowance for that of the back. So I'm working with 2. So the front part I have, I'm working with 2 of it. So this is what I actually have once I'm done with that. So I already went ahead to sew it down, and that was what it looks like. So for this part now, I'm going to be showing us how to actually fix it in our main fabric. So now also we need to close the both of the sides, the 2 sides, which is going to be the slit part. So I went ahead to fold this like a bias so that it is easy for me to work with. Now I'm going to be placing it in like this on the 2 sides. Remember I cut another pattern for the front using the exact one I have. Sorry, I cut another pattern for the back using the exact one I cut for the front. So what I just did is I joined both the front and the back together. Remember that it's going to have a slit, so I make sure to remove the zipper allowance away from it. Then I just join it to the front so that I have it longer, so that the basket effect will cover from the front to the back and where the slit will end. Now after closing that up, now I will just show us how to join this to the main fabric. Now this is the fabric. This is what it looks like. So I have the right side of the fabric facing the right side of the pattern I already drafted and the basket effect. So this is how it's going to be looking at. So the front is facing the front, as you can see. Then I'm going to be placing the lining piece on it. So have in mind that I already went ahead to stitch all my measurements on both the fabric, and so I already went ahead to sew it down on both sides. So this is what it's going to be looking like. So you can see that I already went ahead to sew that part and then for the skirt too, I've taken all my measurements, my client's measurements on that part. So I'll just be using this to turn this together. So if this video was helpful, please give the video a thumbs up. So this is the other part. So as you can see, I've taken all my measurements on that side as well, and then on the lining. So the same measurement I use on the skirt fabric is what I use on the lining piece as well. Thanks for watching, guys.